Hi, my name is Tiana Karamayas and I'm a Cavoodle puppy coach and breeder for Noodle Way and River City Puppies. As a coach, my philosophy is simple. A Cavoodle should always complement your lifestyle, not complicate it. And this is the foundation to everything I teach. For almost the past decade, I have been working in the breeding, training, grooming, and veterinary sectors of the small animal industry. I've also been raising Cavoodles for the past 16 years, so I have definitely learned a thing or two about the breed along the way. Now this podcast is all about Cavoodles. Raising Cavoodles, training Cavoodles, grooming Cavoodles, breeding Cavoodles, and how to shape the behaviour of a Cavoodle puppy. So, if you're a Cavoodle parent or you are looking at adding a Cavoodle to your family soon, then this podcast is for you. New episodes will be released each Tuesday morning, and you can follow me across all social media under the name @OodleWay for more tips and advice on Cavoodles. Thanks for tuning in. Hello and welcome back to episode 39 of the Cavoodle Coach podcast. My name is Tiana Karamayas and I'm your host. In today's episode, I'm a little bit excited to talk about it today. The reason being, when I was trying to brainstorm ideas for this week's episode, this idea came to me and I was like, oh, I feel like this is going to help quite a lot of families if they're bringing home a puppy very soon. So I'm excited to chat about it. The topic of this episode is how to survive your first week with a brand new puppy. Now, we're going to talk about it from the perspective of Cavoodles as usual. However, a lot of these points are going to apply to lots of small breed dogs. So if you're listening to this podcast and you don't have a Cavoodle, that's okay. Keep listening. You'll be able to apply it to a few different breeds. Let's jump into it. Now, if you are if you are watching this podcast, either on YouTube or Spotify, and you're actually seeing my face, if you see me looking to the right a lot, I apologize in advance. I have all my notes on my laptop there, so I don't forget anything, and it's to the right of me, or maybe it's your left. I'm not sure with the flipping of this camera and all that business. But anyway, let's jump into it and let's get started. So I think the best way to do this episode is to do it from the family's perspective. So I'm going to try and put myself in your shoes if you're bringing home a new puppy. And usually when a family is bringing home a new puppy, there's a few worries on their mind. There's some things that they are expecting to happen with their puppy. And those things are usually crying, biting, jumping, maybe some barking, excessive energy, the puppy not settling, and just that whole new experience of literally having an animal in the home, especially if you've never had a pet before and never had a dog. And it's that foreboding feeling of the unknown, like what is it going to look like? What is this week going to include, and how's it going to go? And I guess the first thing you have to just straight up acknowledge is, there are some behaviors that puppies do that is very normal. So things like crying, things like biting, things like barking, things like jumping. These are all very normal puppy behaviors. It doesn't mean they have to happen, and it's not something I recommend leaving to happen. So if your puppy's jumping, continuing to let them jump, I don't recommend that, but it's very normal. And the reason is, for little puppies, that when you bring them home, they're about 8 weeks old, right? And for 8 weeks, they have spent their time with their mum and their siblings. And when dogs interact and when puppies interact, number one, to initiate play with their siblings, they jump on each other, they bite each other's ears, they pull each other's tails. So they use their mouth a lot to communicate what they want. And so when you bring a puppy into your family, that's the first thing a puppy does, is they go, ooh, I want to communicate this to you. I haven't learned any other way to communicate. I'm going to use my mouth. And that's the reason for a lot of jumping and a lot of biting, especially in the first week with a puppy. Something else puppies do is if they need their mum's attention, if they want something from their mum, they're going to cry. So from when they were literally 2 minutes old, puppies cry, and they cry for their mum. If they're hungry, they cry. If they want their mum's, physical contact and that reassurance, they cry. If they're bored, they cry. If they want some attention, they cry. And so again, when a puppy comes into your family at 8 weeks old, they haven't yet learnt how to communicate with humans. And so if they want something from you, if they're hungry or they're bored or they want your attention or they're feeling scared, they're going to cry to try and get your attention. And so when you first bring your puppy home, that very first week, you're going to see a lot of these behaviors from your puppy. It doesn't mean they're a naughty puppy, doesn't mean they're a bad puppy, doesn't mean that they're going to do it forever, but it does mean that the type of training you do really has to acknowledge these behaviors, and we have to focus on teaching our puppy a different way to communicate with us. So rather than biting us to initiate play, we have to teach our puppy, hey, let's do something called manding. If you want my attention, if you want to play, you can sit at my feet. And then if you sit at my feet, I know you want attention and I'll give it to you, rather than biting my ankle for attention. So it's about teaching your puppy and shaping their behaviors and literally just creating a communication channel between you and a dog. Obviously, dogs don't speak English. They don't know how to interact with humans. So there's going to be an adjustment period. So when you're getting a puppy, that first week, expect that adjustment. Expect to have those behaviors show. But it is really, really, really important that you are very aware of how you're responding to these behaviors. So what's going to happen is you're going to bring your puppy home. On the very first day, you're going to walk through the front door. You're going to put your puppy on the ground. You'll show them the house and all of that sort of thing. And then your puppy is going to cry. And a family's first reaction, and I totally understand it, is going to be to go over to the puppy and comfort the puppy, because you assume, okay, the puppy is nervous, the puppy is scared, it's a new house, new home. I'm just going to, show my puppy love, show them that I'm here for them, show them that, it's a safe place to be. But what your puppy understands from their point of view is, oh, if I cry, like I've done previously with my mum and siblings, these humans now come and give me attention. And so they're going to cry the next time they want something, and the next time, and the next time, and they'll cry for longer periods of time. And before you know it, you're going to create this understanding between you and your puppy that if the puppy cries, you come to them. And suddenly you're going to be hearing a puppy cry all night long. They're not going to sleep. You're not going to be able to leave the room without them crying. You're going to create that separation anxiety, and it's going to drive you insane. To put it nicely, you will be driven insane by the crying, because the crying will become more demanding, especially if you start ignoring it and your puppy hasn't learned any other way to communicate with you. So it'll become more demanding. Your puppy will get more frustrated, and a lot of the times when a puppy feels that frustration and they're not getting the attention they want from the crying, then they turn to barking, and then they start barking for your attention. And then you have a little puppy who walks around the house at your feet, barking at you for attention, and then if that doesn't work, they bite your ankle. And this is this is how they would have communicated with their siblings. So it's very normal and natural to them, but it's not the way that we want a puppy to communicate with us. So what's really important, and this is something that I really, really try to heavily emphasize when I'm talking to new puppy families or families getting a puppy soon, the most important thing you can do as a family to make the first week easier, to really survive that first week and make it go as easily and seamlessly as possible, is doing as much preparing as possible before you bring your puppy home. And that preparing needs to look like actually training. So when people say, I'm going to go to puppy school, I need to train my dog. Well, that's what they're assuming. They have to train their dog. But the first step to successfully training a dog is actually successfully training the family. So you have to learn what this training looks like. You have to learn how to communicate to a puppy, how to set the boundaries, how to, teach them how to communicate with you and how to behave in the household. And that is a really big learning curve for families, and that takes a long time to prepare. And if you try and do that training once you already have your puppy, that means you're not dedicating that time to the puppy's training. You're going to be behind. Your puppy is going to get frustrated. They're going to do all that crying, the barking, the biting, the jumping. You're not going to react properly. And then you're going to have a puppy who does do all of these. And I'm going to use quotation marks here if you're not watching the video, naughty puppy behaviors. And that's because we haven't been clear to them the very first time they've walked through that front door. So as a family, if you want that first week to go really, really seamlessly, to go really, really smooth, you have to be training before that. So you have to go through a big learning curve. You practically need to go to puppy school yourself, not the puppy school that you're imagining in your head where you go to class with 8 other dogs and 8 other families and you go and teach your puppy to sit, lie down and stay. I'm talking about the puppy school where it's like, okay, let's assume it's a subject at university, and you're going to learn about puppies, and you need to spend, half a semester learning about this. You need to learn about, how does a puppy communicate to you? What does their body language mean? When your puppy gives you wide eyes with their ears down, what are they trying to say to you? How do we respond to that? If a puppy tries to jump on you, how do we teach them that jumping isn't the correct behavior? And instead, if they sit at your feet, they get the reward, they get the attention. How do we teach our puppy to relax in the home? How do we teach our puppy not to run around with the zoomies like a crazy little dog all day? All of this sort of stuff it takes a lot of time to learn this. It's not something that comes naturally to many people, because obviously dogs are their own species. They have their own ways of communication. They have their own behaviors that come naturally to them. And so it's going to take a long time to teach them how to live in a home with humans rather than a home with their siblings and their dog mom. So if you're going to get a puppy, don't just wait to start learning once you bring your puppy home. Instead, you need to spend as many weeks as possible preparing for your puppy, learning about how to train them before you bring them home. And that way, the first time they do these behaviors we don't want, the first time your puppy barks, the first time your puppy bites, the first time your puppy cries, we can respond in the right way, and we can very quickly and very easily teach them the right way to behave and the right way to communicate with us. And that's going to give you a really easy first week with your puppy. Now, of course, there aren't many options out there for all of this learning. Puppy school with your puppy starts when you actually have your dog, and you can actually go to puppy school to the trainer. And it doesn't offer any sort of learning before you bring your puppy home. It doesn't offer any sort of preparation. And that's why when I created my program, the Essential First Month Cavoodle Puppy Planner, it was so important to me that the training actually starts before you bring your puppy home. The most important part of the whole program is the preparation work a family does, the learning you do before you bring your puppy home. And I have an entire module dedicated to that. And this module goes in depth. We talk about why cavoodles have anxiety, why your cavoodle will cry, how to tell if your puppy is crying because they're sad, if they want attention, if they're hungry, if they're bored, and how to respond to each of those different cries. It teaches you how to deal with the biting, how to deal with the jumping, how to bring your puppy home on that first day and teach them that the house is safe. It goes through all of this really critical information so that when you actually bring your puppy home, you know what to do. You're prepared. You're an expert in the space, and you know how to really easily communicate to your puppy. And it gives you a really nice first week with your puppy. And it gives you the first week where your puppy sleeps through the night. Your puppy is calm, is focused, is attentive. Your puppy isn't running around crazy all the time with the zoomies. And that's because we're very clear with them about what their new home consists of and what it looks like and what their behavior needs to look like. So if you're getting a puppy, let's say in the next few months, or maybe you're thinking about doing it in 6 months, or maybe a year, or whatever the case is, maybe you've already got your puppy. If you've already got your puppy, it's, the time is of the essence. You need to be learning as much as you can and try and play catch up. But ideally, if you're thinking about getting a puppy, or maybe you've put a deposit on a puppy, this is when I really encourage you to think about, how do you know how to communicate to a puppy? Do you know how to address all of these naughty puppy behaviors when they happen? Do you know how to correctly respond to them? And not only you, does your partner know how to respond? Do your kids know how to respond? Do your family members, your extended family know how to, treat your puppy when they come and visit them? Do all of these people understand? And if your answer is no, and you don't feel that confident and you don't feel like you know what you're doing, then I really urge you to put aside the time and start learning. Start learning how to train a puppy from now so that it's second nature to you when you actually bring your puppy home. And if you're getting a cavoodle, I really do recommend my Cavoodle Puppy Planner program. Honestly, I become your cavoodle puppy coach. I teach you exactly what to do with your puppy. I support you. We have weekly Q&A calls so that you can actually ask me your questions based on what your puppy is doing. And like I said, the pre-puppy module, that preparation module, is going to be the best decision and the most important thing you can ever do if you are going to be getting a puppy. So that program, I highly recommend it. I literally created it for you because I was working with all these families. I was breeding all these cavoodles, and I knew that the more that we can train a family before they bring their puppy home, the easier the transition is. So If you want to join that program, the link is in the show notes, or you can just Google the Cavoodle Puppy Planner. It'll come up there. You can join the program. Again, the best time to join it is as far in advance before you bring your puppy home as possible. So if you're not bringing your puppy home for 8 weeks, perfect. Join the course now. Start learning. Give yourself time to work through all of that pre-puppy modules. Give yourself time to learn how to train a dog so that when the dog comes home, it's second nature and it comes really easily to you. And that's when the whole process is really simple. So when you're bringing a puppy home, the most important thing you can do is have structure, have a plan, know your plan of attack, know how to respond to your puppy, and start teaching them straight away how to communicate with you. If you open that channel of communication up in a way that actually is polite and respectful and doesn't consist of a puppy jumping on you or biting or barking at you for attention, then the puppy stage is really easy. And then you're going to have this transition into your family that is seamless, and your puppy is going to complement your lifestyle rather than complicate it. And you will also learn how to get your puppy to sleep through the night from the first night. Their toilet training will be really easy. It'll be a breeze. Your puppy will not have separation anxiety. You'll be able to teach them and tell them and successfully communicate to them that, hey, you're safe. You don't have to be scared when you're alone. And you can teach your puppy that within a day, within 2 days. And you can give your puppy that confidence so that they can be on their own. But if you don't know all this and you go into it unprepared and you don't do all of your own training and learning beforehand, you're going to teach the wrong things to your puppy. You're going to unintentionally communicate the wrong things to your puppy, and then your puppy will form that separation anxiety. They'll be scared by themselves. They'll lack that confidence. They'll be up every hour of the night keeping you up. They'll be doing toileting accidents everywhere. They'll be jumping on you and biting your hair and biting your toes for attention. Your kids will be squealing because it's painful. Puppies have really sharp teeth, and it'll be chaotic and stressful and overwhelming, and you're going to be so stressed with your puppy. So it's really your choice on which way you want to go, whether you want it to be easy or you want it to be hard. But as a Cavoodle puppy coach, I'm here to tell you that the easiest way to survive that first week with your Cavoodle puppy is by doing all of the preparation work first, to actually learn how to train a dog before you bring your puppy home. And that way you know exactly what to do the second they walk through your front door. So again, if you're getting a puppy, I would love to see you in my Cavoodle Puppy Planner program. The link is in the show notes. Otherwise, just Google the Cavoodle Puppy Planner and you can join it literally now. You can join it within a minute and you'll have access to all of the videos and you can get started straight away right after this episode finishes. I would love to see you in there. I would love to support you with your puppy. I would love to guide you and make sure you have all of the reassurance you need. I'd love to hold your hand through this process. Honestly, I want to see you thrive and I want to see your puppy thrive. So hopefully I see some of you in the program and I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, again, honestly, the reviews and the ratings, they really help get this podcast in front of more listeners. And it also reassures me that the podcast is worth doing and that people are listening. So if you're enjoying the podcast episode, whether you're on Spotify or YouTube or you're on Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to it, please leave a rating and a review. It would mean the world to me, or a comment just to let me know that you like the episode, you want me to keep doing them, and then I will. So thank you again for joining me in the Cavoodle Coach podcast. I really appreciate all of the time you've spent listening to me. And I will see you next week with a brand new episode. This has been your Cavoodle Coach, Tiana Karameyers. I'll see you later. Bye.